Sands of Silence, written by Derek Webster. Chapter 1. Time. Once Abbot Nicholas received two visitors. The first approached the courtyard in his cell, in the darkness of early dawn. Dismounting a strong young camel, he asked permission to draw water from the well. It was Melesius, a merchant from Alexandria. Taking off a richly woven cloak, he allowed Nicholas to wash his feet. They then prayed for a short time before sitting together to eat a simple breakfast of salt bread and cheese served by John. Nicholas lived very simply with his disciple John the dwarf in the Nitrian deserts. The credulous said that his holiness was so great that God had granted him the knowledge of all things. The wise saw his humility. After the meal, Melesius said to Nicholas, "Holy Father, does the Lord God do well?" Nicholas looked thoughtfully at him and said, "He does, my son." The merchant was not satisfied. He said, "But Father, have you not heard of the lowly brother who traveled these parts with his ass and his peacock? Darkness came before he had found any place to lodge. The oil in his lamp was almost gone. At last he stumbled across a small oasis where a caravan of travelers from the western desert rested for the night. Unruly men, they beat and robbed him, seized his ass and peacock. He was thrust naked into the darkness of the desert night, with no lamp." Nicholas thought for a long time. At length he said to him, "But who may tie the scroll of time?" Then he blessed Melesius, bade John give him dates and wine for his journey, and sent him away. The second visitor arrived later in the morning. He was a wealthy physician called Agathon, who was traveling to Alexandria. He asked for water for his servants and camels as well as for himself. Nicholas washed his feet, prayed with him, and offered figs to eat. In their talk together, he asked the abbot this question, "Holy Father, does the Lord God do well?" Nicholas gave the same reply, "He does, my son." The physician looked disturbed. He said, "But Father, have you not heard of the young monk who lived alone in the desert of Scete? Attacked by brigands, his few possessions were taken, and his cell destroyed. Thrown down an abandoned well, he lay unconscious for 2 days and 2 nights before he could struggle free. In this the Lord God did not do well." Nicholas looked at him and beyond him, and slowly said, "But who may tie the scroll of time?" Then he blessed Agathon, told John to give him refreshment for his journey, and sent him away. John and Nicholas read the lessons for that hour. "Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat. I would lay my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments." From Job 23, 3 and 4. After their prayers, the dwarf spoke quietly to his master. "How can it be that God does well?" The abbot's eyes twinkled as he laughed softly and said, Would you accuse the Great One of wrongdoing, John? Melesius the merchant does not yet know that the lowly brother treated so shamefully by the caravan of travelers could struggle but a little distance away from the oasis which they held. Now in the deepest part of the night, when all was still, desert marauders fell upon those travelers and slew them all. Our brother was unnoticed, and for no longer had an ass to greet the beasts used by their marauders. He had no peacock to betray his sad place of sojourn, nor had he any lamp to draw their eyes to him. Did God do well? Agathon the physician does not know that while the young monk of Scete lay unconscious hidden in the well, Caesar's soldiers came to conscript him as a slave to the imperial army. Seeing the destruction of his cell, they imagined him to be dead and moved away. Did God do well? There was a long silence as the abbot gazed into the vast emptiness of the desert. Then he said almost in a whisper, "It is not given to Melesius and Agathon, or any human to tie the strings which bind the scrolls of time. Who can know the art which turns present into future? Does a thief see the trap which the householder has laid, or a viper the snare that is set for him? May a mother who cradles twins know the fleeting years, which have torment for her maid and gladness for her son. As a king may not foresee the richness of a summer harvest, neither will a beggar embrace death before his dying. Yet to the Holy One, time gone, time now, and time to be, shine with the same light. And for him one beat of a locust wing lasts till all the hills of Lebanon bow to dust. Only he is the traveler who can follow both tracks when the forest path divides. In this way did John the dwarf catch within the form of time the goodness of the one who is formless. Therefore I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful for me which I did not know. Well, thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.